This is the eHealth Radio Network, your source for health advice on demand. And now your host, Eric Michaels.
Thanks for joining us once again here on the eHealth Radio Network. This is your host, Eric Michaels. eHealth Radio gives you the most current health information, news, and advice featuring some of the leading innovators in healthcare and wellness who are changing healthcare as we know it. For more eHealth Radio reports, we invite you to visit our main radio channel site at eHealthRadioNetwork.com. Today on the show is Mr. Adam Pivko, the co-founder of Adam DNA, a new company that is all about Nutrigenomics. They first decode a person's DNA through an actual at-home sample, and then after examining the sample, the company sends them monthly supplements and nutrients that will best suit what their DNA and body needs to stay healthy. You gotta love this. And Mr. Pivko, thanks for joining us here today on eHealth Radio.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're more than welcome, and I'm sure our listeners just hearing the intro is quite interested to hear more about Adam DNA. So for starters, how do you decode someone's DNA? Let's start there.
Yeah, so we offer two choices. We offer first and foremost the confidential at-home DNA test, which we've gotten FDA approved. So that can be shipped directly to your home. It includes prepaid postage that goes directly to our lab right after that. Genotyping is done directly at our lab in a confidential, again, HIPAA-compliant fashion, such that we're looking at a very specific subset of your overall DNA. Specifically, we're looking at about 98 different genes, and sometimes that translates to about 500 different SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphisms. For anybody who's not familiar with genetics or DNA, your DNA would be like a book, or in many cases, many, many books. A gene would be like a sentence in that book, and a SNP would be more like a letter in that sentence. So that gives you kind of a general analogy for how deep and specific we're looking at very specific things related to how your body metabolizes or doesn't certain micronutrients. That's definitely what we're doing with the DNA side. But alongside of that, we also do a very thorough lifestyle assessment, which includes things like, your diet, your exercise, if you're on any medications, allergies, how you sleep, any types of goals or objectives that you're looking to reach with regards to your health. We combine all of those into a report that's delivered to our users, as well as, including all that information to a personalized supplement regimen.
Well, I'm sure the listeners, after that explanation, certainly understands how this works a lot better now. Why is this process much better than just trial and error methods? Break that down for us.
I love that question. I think that there's a lot of advantages. First and foremost, the current landscape is extremely convoluted and complicated, and there's so many brands and products that are claiming all sorts of different benefits. Meanwhile, one man's food is another man's poison, an old adage. I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said that. Or maybe it was, no, not Benjamin Franklin, regardless. Really, instead of trial and error, which, I refer to as self-prescribing, instead of doing that, which takes time, it takes costs, it takes, a whole bunch of just taking up counter space with old supplements that you're no longer taking. I was definitely in that boat. Doing all of that, instead of doing all that, getting it right on the first try, I think unlocks newfound ways for not only cost savings, but also generally just giving people real accuracy. Maybe some people never even knew what healthy could even really feel like.
Hey, that is a good point made. Some folks are not even accustomed to feeling healthy. So that is one fantastic point. Now, how did you even come up with this concept and idea?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is I had a health scare. So in the process of, recovering from that, I ended up hiring a personal trainer, a nutritionist, and a dietitian, really trying to turn my life around. And ultimately, I got some really poor recommendations from my nutritionist. Now, to nobody's surprise, some of those recommendations were financially incentivized, but who cares? Ultimately, they should have worked. So I reached out to a friend who I knew had been spending a lot of time and money on his health, also had some health complications, and he put me onto the science of Nutrigenomics. So I had conveniently already done, for recreational purposes, one of those 23andMe tests. So I downloaded my data and uploaded it to this company that would look through that and give me, much more detailed insight. So I got this massive report. I think it was like 400 some odd pages. And it gave me a lot of insight. In fact, I immediately identified why vitamin A was causing me problems, and also why I have certain, I shouldn't be drinking caffeine. Like, it was just one of those many things that like kind of came out in this report. So I was mind blown by this information, took action, but ultimately went on Amazon, started self-prescribing a whole bunch of stuff, and the process was back to being difficult and convoluted. So ultimately, I paired up with that same friend. We built this for ourselves first and foremost. I was the first customer, and rolled it out to friends and family, and then out to the masses once we got some awesome feedback and really built something special here.
No better place than to start with yourself, and you've certainly made it happen, and we appreciate your joining us here today on behalf of Autumn DNA. Again, we're speaking with Adam Pivko, the co-founder of Autumn DNA, a new company that is all about Nutrigenomics, stopping the guesswork, poor advice, and ending the consumption of low-quality vitamins and supplements, and he's joined us here today on eHealth Radio's Health News and Supplement channels, a part of the eHealth Radio Network. Now, tell us, I'd be curious, what are doctors and others saying about this?
Yeah, so I was no expert to begin this adventure. So ultimately, we've leaned on a massive scientific advisory board. We have geneticists, pharmacists, physicians, naturopaths, nutritionists, dietitians, functional wellness practitioners, all contributed to the technology that we use on the back end to create these personalized plans. Now, I'm always open door to speak with more medical or scientific professionals and have them take a peek under the hood at how our algorithms and technology really works. I have yet to not impress one of those individuals, and constantly looking to expand our scientific advisory board with more insights and more expertise.
And lastly, Mr. Pivko, looking at the company, what's next for the company? Anything in the works that we should be aware of, or anything else you'd like to mention?
Yeah, we're definitely hyper-focused on helping as many people as possible. So, yeah, we have, direct-to-consumer channels wide open and ready to go. But we're definitely rolling out, a pilot program as it is right now. We have a couple companies already signed up for a, B2B kind of wellness employee benefit approach. So, perhaps you're an employee that you think your employer would be interested in rolling this type of personalized health and wellness approach out, giving real value in their employee wellness programs. That's definitely something that we're interested in talking to more companies about.
Well, it certainly makes a lot of sense. And again, we really do appreciate all you do and for joining us here today on the program. I'm sure you've piqued the interest of the audience. Where can listeners get more details on Autumn DNA and even try out the product?
Yeah, simply put, our website is a great place, or if you like, you can check us out on any of your favorite social media platforms. You can find us on social media at Autumn DNA, or directly to our website at tryautumn.com.
Again, we certainly appreciate your visit with us here today on eHealth Radio. Again, listeners, it is tryautumn.com. Mr. Pivko, all the best, and thanks for joining us here today on eHealth Radio.
Hey, thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you're more than welcome anytime. We've been speaking with Mr. Adam Pivko, the co-founder of Autumn DNA, a new company that is all about Nutrigenomics, stopping the guesswork, poor advice, and ending the consumption of low-quality vitamins and supplements. And to learn more, visit tryautumn.com. And again, this has been your host, Eric Michaels, and we do thank you for your continued support of the eHealth Radio Network. Join us again soon for another episode that will help further expand your knowledge on those things that are important to your health and wellness. For more eHealth Radio reports, we invite you to visit our main radio channel site at eHealthRadioNetwork.com. And as always, we do thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to the eHealth Radio Network. For more information or to subscribe to this podcast, visit eHealthRadioNetwork.com.